Let me ask you a quick question. Are you wasting brilliant AI minds and, let's be honest, your own hard-earned money on menial digital tasks? Think about it. Imagine paying Albert Einstein a massive genius grant just to hand him a mop and a bucket and tell him to clean your floors. It sounds ridiculous, right? But that is essentially exactly what you're doing if you're using a top-tier frontier model just for basic data sorting and filing.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, our goal is incredibly exciting, but more importantly, it's highly practical. We're going to combine top-tier models, specifically the immensely powerful Fable 5, with Hermes agents. And the best part? We are going to do it without completely breaking the bank. We are unlocking superhuman workflows here, simply by being incredibly strategic with exactly how and when we deploy our digital intelligence.
Here is our playbook for today. First, the Einstein problem. 2, compress, judge, execute. 3, building a routing system. 4, shipping autonomous websites. 5, your AI productivity strategist. And finally, number 6, the multimodal meta. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to move swiftly from the core theory right into 3 very concrete, deployable use cases. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Einstein problem. It's time to stop overpaying for basic AI tasks.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because this is the fundamental trap almost everyone falls into the second they get access to these powerful tools. Making an expensive genius-level model like Fable 5 your default everyday chat model is just a massive financial waste. It absolutely destroys your budget, and frankly, it's just inefficient. Instead, we need to look at side A. We need cheap workhorses. These are models like ChatGPT 5.5, DeepSeek, or Grok. They are super cheap, sometimes completely free, and they are absolutely perfect for gathering context and processing massive waves of data. Think of them as your thousands of grunt workers doing all the heavy groundwork. Then, on side B, we reserve Fable 5 exclusively for what it actually does best. It's the orchestrator. We only bring it in for taste, architecture, strategy, review, and codifying.
Moving on to Section 2, compress, judge, execute. This is our core 3-step AI framework.
So, how does all this build a philosophical framework that actually solves our resource problem? Well, the crucial point here is how your data actually flows through the pipeline. Step 1 is compress. Your cheap workhorse models gather up all the raw data, compress it down, and essentially write a really concise brief. Step 2 is judge. Fable 5 receives that extraction, reviews it, and makes the high-level strategic call. And then step 3 is execute. That genius judgment is passed right over to Hermes, which then uses capable models and tools to actually take action. This pipeline guarantees that you are only paying for genius when that genius actually changes the final outcome.
Section 3, building a routing system. Let's talk about controlling Fable 5 inside Hermes.
This brings us to our very first incredible use case, which is taking this theory and making it a reality inside the Agentic OS Pantheon. To make this work smoothly, we actually build a custom AI persona inside the Pantheon. Let's go ahead and call it the Alchemist. We program Hermes with these 5 specific escalation triggers: taste, architecture, strategy, review, and codify. Now, Hermes is explicitly instructed to use cheap models by default, but it's constantly checking to see if any of these triggers fire. Only when a complex task demands one of these 5 specific things does Hermes know to tag in Fable 5. It is literally precision deployment.
But here is where the real magic happens, the built-in financial safeguard. Look, let's be honest, literally no one likes waking up to a surprise massive cloud bill. So we program Hermes so that before it ever actually escalates to Fable 5, it explicitly stops and asks for your approval. It will calculate the token and dollar estimates and basically say, hey, to rock and roll with Fable here, it's going to cost exactly this much. Are you okay with that? This is absolutely crucial because it ensures you never accidentally spend a small fortune running intensive background tasks while you happen to be away from the keyboard.
Now for Section 4, shipping autonomous websites. We're deploying this with Vercel and Agent Stack.
Let's really step up the complexity here and take a raw idea straight to the web entirely autonomously. Now, this architecture might look a little complex at first glance, but it breaks down beautifully. We're building a live website hosted directly on Vercel, but we're installing a Vercel plugin to use Agent Stack. What this does is give us an embedded AI agent, completely controlled by a simple instructions folder, and operating inside its own isolated throwaway Linux sandbox. But the real hero here is the AI gateway. Think of this gateway kind of like a centralized phone switchboard to a massive room of different experts. It automatically routes the standard coding and site-building traffic to cheap default models
and it escalates up to Fable 5 purely for the heavy architectural lifting. Now, you might be wondering, what was the final cost for all of this? 26 cents. Literally just 26 cents. By utilizing that gateway and our custom triggers, a full architecture pass and continuation by Fable 5 to build this entire live project cost almost nothing. You get the absolute highest tier of architectural design, but completely without the astronomical price tag. And here's the crazy part. This is the output of that mere 26-cent investment, generated essentially in one single shot. A fully functional, live website for a dry, sparkling water brand, completely flushed out with lemon, strawberry, and grapefruit flavors. But it gets better. It's not just a static page. It has an embedded, autonomous AI agent living right there on the site. You can literally type to it, "Hey, I'd like to reserve a tasting next Tuesday," and it flawlessly handles that natural language request, confirms the date, and autonomously captures the user's name and email. I mean, that is just the unmatched power of smart multi-model routing in action.
Section 5. Your AI Productivity Strategist. Let's look at maximizing insights from your personal data.
For our final use case, we're going to shift inward. We're pointing this whole system at your own massive logs of emails, calendars, and chats. Now, if Fable 5 read all of those chat logs and emails directly, it would be incredibly expensive, right? Because of the massive context window. So we completely flip the methodology. Step 1, we ask Fable 5 to strategize. We basically ask it, what are the optimal questions we should even be asking to find productivity bottlenecks in my life? Step 2, we deploy our cheap workhorse models to actually do the heavy lifting, scanning through the massive text logs in Hermes and Claude code, just looking for the answers to Fable's specific questions. And finally, Step 3. Those workhorses compress the answers, hand them back to Fable 5, and Fable consolidates them into high-level, actionable insights. You are getting maximum level performance, but for a tiny fraction of the cost.
Section 6. The multi-model meta. Model agility is absolutely the new frontier.
Let's pull back for a second and look at the overarching philosophy here. What does this all mean for you moving forward? It's simply this. Every model has its lane. Your job is to get the best model in the right lane. This is exactly what trips people up all the time. Success in this space is not about just blindly throwing the most expensive, advanced tool at every single problem you encounter. It's about orchestration. It's about being model agnostic and judiciously substituting in a genius only when the task explicitly demands a genius.
Which leaves us with this final vital thought. By mastering this compress, judge, and execute pipeline, you are unlocking truly superhuman workflows. You stop wasting your resources, and you start scaling your capabilities exponentially. You are finally putting the right minds on the right tasks. So, what will you build when you stop paying Einstein to mop the floor? Thank you so much for joining this explainer. I challenge you to go out and start building your own cost-effective, multi-model workflows today.